What's up, everybody? Today, today is December 8th, 2023, about to end the year. We're gonna have some new participants in Finding Your Way Season 3. Hopefully, we help them um, find a strategy, fine tune it, and make them consistent traders. The whole goal of this process is to help them find a strategy, create a system, create a playbook, whatever you call it, find a systemized, structured way of of trading. You don't want to. A lot of new traders come in and they get the false hope of, hey, I'm gonna start making so much amount of money that I'm gonna be able to quit my 9 to 5. Don't get me wrong, that is my goal, is to get you to quit your 9 to 5 and buy you the freedom that you deserve. But that being said, you do have to take your time and you do have to put in the time to become consistent. One of the biggest things is being disciplined, following the rules, and yeah, we'll jump into it. So here's this is this week's agenda, what we're going to go through. So a couple of ground rules for the new participants that are going to be going through this process. The introductions, simplifying and breaking down strategy from the lead system or BRT, jumping into some trading psychology, some mindset, and then the plan of attack, pretty much how this whole thing is planned out, and then a couple of resources at the end. So ground rules. You have to stay disciplined around your rules. This is all going to fall into place because if you don't have discipline, you're going to bend your rules, you're going to break them, and then you're not going to make good trades. You want to stay disciplined. Another big thing is positivity. You want to stay positive. When you go through this process, there's going to be some walls that you're going to have to break through. You're going to, a lot of traders come in, they're profitable for a week or two or a month, whatever it is, and then they hit that wall, or they hit like, man, I'm not consistent. I've been in a losing trader for like the last 3 months. What the fuck? I'm about to give up. Don't hang it up. You have to put in the time to be able to. It's just like with any job, any career, any apprenticeship that you go through. Most jobs, it takes about 3 to 4 years for you to become a good work, in that industry. Um, or apprenticeship, like an iron worker, their apprenticeship is 3 to 4 years. It just depends. The learning speed will depend on you. You know what I'm saying? If you put in the time and you put in the work and you stick to your rules, you're gonna learn a lot faster than if you're trying to do it on your own and you're not following the rules. You're not following the rules, then you're just gonna set yourself back. Um, do not focus on your P&L. This is not about P&L first. This is about building consistency, confidence, for you to move forward. The P&L will come. Trust me, I've been there. I started with the $600 account, built it up, and then blew it up. I did that about 3 cycles. And finally, I was like fed up. I was at the point where I was about to quit, and I was like, I took a step back, and I came to the realization that there's no every chat room that I've been in, they've never taught you. They teach you the strategy, but they don't teach you how to systematically create a structure or a playbook around that strategy. They said, here's a strategy, go out and use it. So I slowly started building a system where I noticed that I was building up my confidence. And with that confidence comes consistency. So yeah, no distractions. You don't you want a good environment to trade. You don't want to be trading, in a factory where there's a bunch of noise and you can't even focus on your trades. If that's the case, wait until there is a good time to trade. You're gonna either, for example, me, when I'm trading in the morning before my kids wake up, I'm good. I'm making good decisions. But as soon as my kids wake up and they're being loud, or I need to get them ready for school, then yeah, my trading kind of went down. So what did I tell myself? I created a rule saying I'm not going to trade while I get my kids ready for school, or I'm not going to trade if there's any external distractions. Uh, Another thing is focus. Focus on your strategy. We're going to break it down to the simplest form, and we're going to help you fine tune it. So focus on candle development, price action development, whether you're using trend lines, fair value gap, standard dev system, anything like that. You want to focus to make that candle development valuable, and you're gonna be writing down a lot. You need to write down one of the principles that Ray Dalio that I learned from says that you need a journal. You need a journal so you can write down your mistakes, write down your achievements, and be able to correct your mistakes. It's like we're gonna throw you in the ringer. We're gonna have you use your strategy, trade. Just trade whatever you think is good, right? Because first we're gonna figure out, are you a long player or are you a short player? Some people might come in saying, some traders might come in saying that, oh, I'm both directions. Not during this process. We will figure out if you're a long player or a short player. Easy can attest to that. Um, he said
I
that
attest.
he was trying to trade both ways, but we eventually found out that he had way more winning trades when he was going short. And he was forcing, even though he was using the same strategy for long and short, for some reason your brain will see the patterns easier, either long or short. Once you get better, once you have that screen time, once you laser in your strategy, then you can add long or add another bias. But not until then. Don't try to trade two biases, because you're just gonna get confused. Honestly, you're gonna favor one side or the other, whether you think so or not, and we'll figure that out. There will be some homework, like reading, watching videos, and I want you guys to watch them or read them and then come back to me and tell me what you guys learned. Like that, we can either reflect on what you learned and help you retain that knowledge, and take notes. If you're watching the elite videos, take notes. If we're right here recapping your trades, take notes. Um, if Brandon's in the pre-market, take notes. There has been a bunch of nuggets that he's dropped that if I wasn't listening to the stream, I would not learn. Um, but that being said, there's sometimes where you'll need to focus and concentrate on your strategy. So muting him is, totally acceptable. If you're finding yourself scatterbrained and not be able to make up your own game plan. But we're gonna teach you how to do your pre-market breakdown, create a game plan, and then be able to trade. Those are some of the rules that you need to have before you even take a trade. You need to have a trade breakdown or bias breakdown, and then you need to figure out a game plan. Because how's the saying go? If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. So we don't want you guys to come in trading and you don't have a game plan and you're failing all the time. The next big thing is study. study. If you have any questions, I've rewatched a lot of the elite videos 2 or 3 times, and it's a lot. It's a lot to watch. Luckily, I had the opportunity to be here since it began, so I was not playing catch up. But that being said, Dell, Luna, or Kelsey, if you guys have any questions, I will point you towards one of those videos if it relates to your strategy. If not, I will send you a YouTube video or notes or PDF of something to study. And then come back to me with questions. Hey, I don't understand this part, or there's never a stupid question. I'll do my best to answer your question. And if I don't know the answer, I will find an answer for you or a video to point you in that direction. And the last thing is, like I said, journaling. You need a journal, so you need to identify, so you can identify where you're deficient or your deficiencies are, or where you're making mistakes. Um, and that goes for anything. And I would add one more point: be consistent. Consistency breeds consistency. That what that means to me is, if you show up every day and you stick to a pattern, you stick to a strategy, you stick to a game plan, you're gonna fine tune that process, because it's like a loop. All you're gonna do is like, um, I'll post the Ray Dalio. I've posted it before, but I'll post it again. That Ray Dalio loop, where you figure out your mistake, you like find the solution, and then you put the solution to practice, and then you repeat it again. So like, case in point, you're good. You're new to this. You have bad entries, bad exits, and bad stops. So what's the first thing you need to concentrate? Well, focus on your entries. So for that week, we're only going to focus on your entries. You're going to write down, okay, what did you see? What made you think that way? What did price action do? Did it play out? Did it play against me? So we're going to laser in your entry. Once we got your entry on laser, we're going to jump into your exits. One of the big issues is new traders come in, they cut their winners short, and they let their losers run. You don't want to do that. You don't want to get into bad habits and bag hold. So then we would work on your exits. Or if you're good at your entries and you're good at your exits, but sometimes you get stopped out, then we'll concentrate on your stop loss. We'll help you out with that. But if you don't write that shit down, we're not gonna know how to help you, or you're not gonna know how to help yourself or how to correct it. Because after this is done, you want to continue those same habits. How can I identify mistakes or deficiencies in my trading that I can improve on? There's always room for improvement. Another thing, once you find your strategy, you're going to have different variations of your strategy. You're going to have data days, because price action never behaves the same. On data days, it behaves a little bit different, even though you have the same strategy. If on data days, price action might pierce through your level and then squeeze up, where before, where it's not data days, it would hit your level and then squeeze up. And those are things that you'll have to identify. Any questions on the rules? Any comments? LunaTheCat, easy. Feel free to jump in if these are.
Oh, yeah, a couple things. Sorry, I've got like a sandwich I'm eating. So yeah, don't focus on your P&L. That's huge. That breeds emotions. Um, Journaling. I'm like an expert on journaling. Like I've had some red trades recently, and what I found out is that when I got my two reds and I'm done, I turn off that computer and I leave. I leave the house and do my journaling immediately. Go to the library, go to the coffee shop. Those are my two spots. And like it's so good. Journal your green trades as well. Um, While going through this process, bring those red recaps. They're so valuable. I've shared dozens and dozens, maybe hundreds of red recaps since I've been with BRT. Very, very useful. And we all learn from them. And really don't be shy because we all go through all the same stuff. We all feel the same pain. And sometimes it's difficult to reveal that stuff, but trust, like we're here because we you know, we're all living this same life. We know it, you know.
I can add something on this one as well. But talking about like not focusing on the P&L, one thing, it's just that just don't look at the P&L at all. If you can even hide it, whatever, not having it on the same screen that you are looking at, again, just keep in mind, this is sim trading. It's not real money. So you don't need to look at the P&L. By just looking at it, it will create a unnecessary stress that you do not need while trading. So hide it out and then watch the chart play out, or like watch the beauty of having a target and an exit and then see how the chart gets to there. Like if your strategy is true, if it's working, then yes, it will get to that point. On my case, I trade from one moving average to the other. So once I place the trade, I'm just waiting for the moving average to touch or the price action in order to close it. So try to focus on not looking at the P&L, hide it if you can, and then just watch the chart play out. Let it play out. Like regardless if it takes 1 minute, 5 minute, or an hour trade, just let it play out. That's it. Simple.
That'll definitely help you with cutting your winners too short. In the sim, while you're sim trading, if it takes, especially the trades that take, some trades will take 2 minutes, some trades will take 10 minutes, some trades will take an hour, it depends. Sometimes if you're playing after hours, it'll take 3 hours just because it's like watching paint dry after hours before the volatility starts picking up around midnight Pacific Standard Time. It's just the nature of the game where I will recommend that you look at the chart after hours, not to watch price action, but one of the biggest things that helped me get used to ES movement was watching it play out after hours because it's so slow that you can talk your way. You can talk, you know how Brandon narrates his trades in the morning for us? Like he's he's telling us, oh, it's gonna pull back to this fib level, or it's gonna pull back to this moving average, or it's gonna pull back to this volume profile. He is talking his way through it. Like if he sees this, this is the play he's gonna take. And that's what we're gonna teach you how to do. Because you want to keep your brain in check and just talk. I mean, you might see your wife might think you're crazy, or your partner might think you're crazy because you're talking to yourself, but it actually helps. I noticed that it helped me stay calm, cool, calm, and collected pretty much. And you're kind of like reinforcing your brain. Like, if I don't see this, I'm not taking the trade. And then you're slowly um, watching the play out. So you're like, I want to see a pullback high, or I want to see a pullback low. I want to see a pullback to this level. I want to see a retest of this level. I want to see RSI at this level. I want to see MACD at this level. Once they all line up, once MACD, RSI, and price action, and whatever strategy you're using lines up, then take that trade. This week is a lot of trading psychology, and one of the biggest things that new traders fail is they don't accept the fact that they may lose money. And this is a mindset that I had when I first started, right? I came in and I get in the trade, and I'm already immediately thinking, well, if it hits this target, I'm gonna make $500, right? And that's all you think about. You get tunnel vision, and you forget the other side. Instead of saying, hey, I'm gonna come in here, I'm gonna get in at the 50 SMA, and it's gonna squeeze up to the high of day, then I'm gonna make $600. No, instead of doing that, say, if I get in at the 50 SMA, I'm willing to risk $200, or, if you have two contracts on ES, that's 2 points. So where is my best entry? The closest point is either at the 50 SMA, a little bit under that 50 SMA, or a little bit below above. And then you have your premium entry, and then you need to accept the fact that that trade automatically already cost you $200. Once you accept that you've already lost, even though you haven't technically lost, then it's going to put you in a better situation to stay a little bit calmer through the trade. But if all you're thinking of is that green P&L, you're going to set yourself up for failure. So just take it slow and be like, okay, I'm going to risk 2 points, or I'm going to risk $25, $50, whatever it is. Everybody's risk tolerance and risk management is different. As you build your account, your risk tolerance is going to get you're going to have a buffer. We're going to teach you how to build that buffer. Like I always say, this is, more cushion for the pushing. You have a bigger cushion so you can let it play out to push up or push down. It doesn't matter. So usually what I used to tell Easy was only trade your grade A setup first. Don't trade your B grade or your C grade, because your B and your C grade have a lower probability than your A grade setup. Your A grade setup is like 75%, your B grade setup is like 50%, and then your C grade setup is like, 30 to 45%. And sometimes you have to learn the hard way, where you're playing your C grade setup. Yeah, it played out this time, but most of the time your C grade setup is not going to work. But we'll figure that out later. So without further ado, let's jump into introductions. I think we're missing Kelsey. Hopefully he can join us next week. But we also have LunaTheCat and Dell22. Whoever can unmute themselves, go ahead and introduce yourself.
I guess I was on mute. You hear me now?
Yeah, we got you.
Okay, so basically I'm Bill, basically located in Toronto, and just trying to learn about the trading. I'm new to this, and I don't have any concrete strategies yet. I've been watching few, YouTubes and stuff, just very basic level.
Uh-huh.
I'm in real estate myself, and basically that's pretty much about me. I'm very new.
Cool. Great to have you. We're gonna teach you how to find a strategy, and then hopefully we get you going on being consistent. A lot of this thing is focus, concentration, and since you don't have a strategy, try to find one that you kind of gravitate to. Some of them might move too fast, some of them might move too slow, some of them might help you see the chart better than others. So we're gonna jump into that. We're slowly gonna have you trade on sim, and yeah, we'll take it from there. Yeah.
Awesome.
Oh, what happened? You guys see? Oh, I lost you guys.
No, we see.
Dell or Luna? Who else is next?
I'll go. Dell22 is the handle. I'm in cybersecurity. I live in New York. I'm actually going in for certifications for cybersecurity also. I actually work from home, so I'm usually in front of the computer all the time, which is a definite sin, especially when it comes to trading. But I've learned to. You're laughing because you know what I mean.
Yep, I'm exactly like you, dude.
So it's a sin because like the chart's right in front of me, and sometimes what actually helps me is actually getting into work, having a meeting, and stuff like that because it keeps my eye away from the charts.
Yep.
Um, but beyond that, the strategy that I'm using is the fair value gap. I've worked with trying to use the VWAP before, but then everything again was working well, but then the market switched. And sometimes I still use it with the fair value gap, and it's actually made my trades a little better. Not consistent, but I'm getting there. Semper, I've reached out to him. He helped me with a few videos and books to read. And like I said yesterday, watched a couple of videos a few times, and I'm learning more of the terminologies and how to really read the charts. So it's making me better understand how the market moves.
Yep.
And how to be more confident in the trade, because usually I'll look at the trade, like I said, I sit in front of my computer and I'm looking at it and I'm like, okay, I think this is what's going to happen. But then I won't, even if sim trading, I just won't get in. And I'm like, oh, it happened. Oh, I should have done it. I coulda, shoulda, woulda, but I didn't. And before I wasn't journaling, I'm starting to journal now. I would like to be more better at journaling so I can really see where my thought process is and how to correct the mistakes that I do make.
Yep. And that's only gonna help you get better is journaling. Before when we first started elites, Brandon would always say journal, 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 or he would say create rules, follow your rules. And I would always just say, okay, yeah, I'll have a mental journal. And it doesn't help to have a mental journal or mental rules. For the first few weeks until you learn your rules, even after we create your guys' rules, I want you guys to print them out and have them in front of you, because if out of sight, out of mind, until they're ingrained in your head. And these are rules, like narrative rules. They're not like a definitive rule. Like, what I mean is the rule is going to be designed as a question, not as a concrete, hey, do not enter at this point. The rule is going to be is, when should I enter? When I see a moving average, or when I see a fair value gap, or when I see a trend level hit, or something like that. It's not going to be, don't get in until you see first hit of a daily level. It's not like that. It's more asking you a question, because you're going to have a conversation with yourself during your trading. And it's only going to help you, because I've noticed that Brandon, when he narrates, it helps his mind and his brain focus on whatever play he has. But he's so fast. He's an algo. I call him an algo trader because he is an algo, where he might see anchor VWAP strategy and it's developing, price actions developing to that strategy, and then he sees something that looks like a different strategy, and then he'll flip to that strategy. So he might say short, and then he sees the candle developing a certain way that he's switching long because a different strategy. And that's like more expert. We're not there yet. So we're only going to focus on one strategy. The first couple of weeks, we're going to concentrate only on one part of that strategy before we even dive deeper and help you create rules and help you, even though it's like a fair value gap system, we're going to help you stack catalyst for that system so you can actually make a confident trade. But the thing that I'm going to keep stressing is you have to accept the fact that no strategy is 100% accurate, first off, and that you're going to be wrong a lot of times. But let's keep your mistakes small, your reds small and your greens big. So like that, even though you're wrong, you're still going to end up on the winning side. One of the books that a member recommended was the biggest losers or the best losers win or something like that. I have the title, but we'll jump into that later at the end of the session. But cool, great to have you, Dell. I hope to make you consistent. My goal is to have you be consistent, hopefully on average making $500 to $600 a day. If you don't have that, if you don't want to join a prop firm or you don't have that account size, then we're gonna start with MES, and we're gonna start you small. But don't concentrate on the P&L. The P&L will come. Trust me. Like Brandon always says, those base hits add up. The base hits add up, and they do. If you're just starting out with $600 account or $2,000 account, whatever, and you come in and you can only trade MES, who cares? Come in here, learn your strategy, so like that you can build up your account to be able to trade ES.
And
So
also,
even,
Dell, one of the things, you're in the right place because one of the things that you can look forward to is you were talking about hesitation to enter. As you get more solid in your strategy and as your strategy becomes more clearly defined, you will develop the confidence to enter and you'll see that hesitation, start to like just melt away.
yep. And that's what I noticed with Lasagna Cat and Easy was like they had a little bit of faith, and you have to start off with a little bit of faith because obviously it works, right? You're attracted to that strategy because you've seen Brandon and it worked to the T how you like it. But when you try to use it and adapt to it, then you can't call out the plays or see the plays because you don't have the screen time or the on the candle development to be able to confidently just get in by looking at the candle. So in order to help you make you more confident, we might add a little bit more other indicators that help you stack up that catalyst to make you a more consistent trader. So thank you all for joining us. Hopefully this will be a fun trip, and out on the other side, hopefully you'll be consistent and either be passing prop firm challenges or making big bucks on your own account. So congrats for joining, and me, Lasagna Cat, and Easy will help you along the way. And any other elite member who has input, who has been here for a while, jump in, chime in wherever you can, because I created this group or these videos so we could come in here and just have like kind of like AA where we kind of help each other through our issues or through our deficiencies, our mistakes, and hold each other accountable is the best part of it. Is we're going to learn each other's strategies, and when you learn other people's strategies, it might help you in one way or one form or another, help you get better in your strategy. And that's what I've come to notice when I taught Lasagna Cat how to laser in his strategy. It helped me get way better, exponentially better. And then Easy, when he came in, it was the first short trader that we had in the system. And now I can trade short. So you're only going to get better by helping other members either laser in their strategy, find a strategy, or help them with any questions that they might have that you might have an answer to. So we're here to kind of create a family and just embrace each other and help us become better traders. So thank you. So simplifying your strategy. We're going to jump into specific parts of your strategy and help you laser in that part until you're good. The fair value gap system. Dell, have you been able to figure out what kind of parts to the strategy is? I know there's liquidity, fair value gap, there's displacement and distribution. So we're gonna help you identify those parts of the strategy. Is there one that you're having a hard time with, or that you don't have a full grasp of?
I would say displacement, definitely, because liquidity, after watching that video, I researched liquidity, so I'm getting a better understanding. I mean, of course, I would like to go through it all,
Yeah, yeah,
but
yeah, we'll
I
get
would
there.
say displacement. Displacement is definitely something that throws me off.
And displacement happens in the elite system as well, but we call it something different. We call it a fresh low or a fresh high break, squeeze or breakdown. Usually when this was data day, but usually it's the way it works out. Just it's gonna displace whatever the last structure was. The last structure was here, so it was taken, and it creates displacement where it kind of just uh takes the last liquidity on the last structure. It's kind of a bad example, but and right now, what are you having what's the hardest part of your entry or your exit or your targets on your strategy?
I would say entry got a little much better actually. So it's now I'm doing targets because before trying it, I stayed at the target of just 5 points, always 5 points. But now, like I said, those videos, when I say they helped a lot, I can see movement. So now, like today, I've actually went for 10 points.
Mm-hmm.
So now with that, because I sent you a message, I was having always issues with two contracts. So
Yep.
I'd always stay with one contract, 5 points. That's it. Maybe for a second trade, third. And usually when I go for my second trade, I'm successful. Third one will bring me back down. And I'm like, all right, I'm done for the day. That's it. So I can see more where movements, like I said, in the liquidity. So now I'm going for 10 points with two contracts, close one at 5 and let the other one run with a trail stop.
Nice. One of the biggest things with the fair value gap is it seems like you said on the third trade you're losing, so you might be forcing that trade. You might
Yeah.
be trying to, or you got two green trades and you're a little bit overconfident. But once we jump into your trades and we see, okay, this is not a good setup because of other factors, um, will help identify a better entry or even just avoid that trade. Um, do you have a daily target, a daily goal, or do you just have points that you're shooting
Just
for?
points. I'm going for points. Like I said, I'm trying to stay away from that PNL where actual numbers.
Good.
So I
Good.
try, I try to stay between on a daily 5 to 10 points. I know it's
Awesome.
MES, but then that's where I'm going for today. Actually, there was a lot of confidence, especially like I said, I can't stress enough. Doing homework really helps.
Yep.
And so today I was, I got a little confident and I said, you know what? I'm definitely going to try two contracts. And when I saw the move, I saw the liquidity in today after, especially, they had what is it? At 10 a.m. they had
Oh yeah, the data.
the data.
Yep.
After the data moved, it helped a lot just watching. And I was able to catch two down plays from the same play.
Yep.
Because it reached because there's also I use a Fibonacci pivots.
Yep.
So when it started going up, I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna watch and see where it slows down. And
Yep.
it hit the pivot and it started funneling under the pivot. So I said, you know what? Okay, this is where I said I can see it. It's reached its max. There's no more steam for it. So I'm figuring it's gonna hit down. Let me actually, I think I sent the play on the other chat
Hold on. I'll pull it up.
for today.
Hold on a sec. Oh, this is the wrong one. Is this the play you're talking about?
Yeah. So, like I said, because it's when you guys mentioned trying to focus on your trade, when it first, before even data came out, I noticed that, and I was thinking to myself, this is gonna go long, because when I was looking at SPY, it was literally hovering right over the VWAP, the main VWAP. But then, like you said, I had Brandon, saying it's gonna go short, watch out. So I didn't get into the play at all.
Yeah.
And it shot up, and I'm like, oh wow, okay, you know what? That's fine. We'll see where the steam runs out. And then once I saw that wick, I said, all right, you know what? I'm gonna wait till, if you could zoom in on that second candle where it was right under the pivot point, that's where I decided to get an entry. So I got the entry, and I actually was able to take it down all the way past to the actual pivot point, the yellow pivot, the main pivot point.
Way down here.
Yeah. So I'm like, all right, that's great. And then of course it shot up. And on my second play, it stopped right short, creating a trend. I saw the trend, and I'm like, okay, it didn't pass that high point. So I actually, because it didn't pass that wick, so I actually got in at the same spot, and I ran it down actually all the way down to, I think I got at the 200. No, yeah, I got out at the 200 on the second time, because I had two contracts this time.
Yeah.
So I took one out at close to 6 points, right where the R1 was, so I can
Yep.
have a little cushion and let the other one just run and had a trail stop. And that, to me, that was like amazing. Right then and there, I shut everything down. I walked away, and I was like, I don't care what ends up happening, I am good. So to me, that's how I was able to work this play.
Awesome. Yeah, the trade looks, I mean, it looks like you got, top tick entry almost, other than that big wick, which that's hard to do anyways.
Well, I wanted that big wick as confirmation, because what
Yeah.
happened when I saw it wicked and I saw it stayed under the
Yeah.
R2, I wanted to wait for that other red candle.
Yep.
Once I saw it was red and I saw that the wick wasn't hitting or like above it,
Yeah.
that's where I got my entry in.
Awesome. And that's a typical entry that I would take, because I use like the first leg pullback entry or second leg pullback entry, and this would be, but I use like a pullback high. So this would be a pullback high, right? Because it created that big. Hold on a second, let me get the annotation. Dang it. Like, we'll just use this first screenshot right here where it created this big wick, like you said. And I usually get in. I usually get in like one tick below this pullback high right here. I usually get in right here, one tick below that. But one of the biggest things that helps me identify that it's actually going to go down or up or whatever the case may be is I hope it doesn't shrink it. Keep shrinking it. See how there's a big candle right here, and then there's two little ones on each side of it? For going short, you want to see the pullback high, whether it's a body here, and then you want to see the candle before it, you want it to see lower. You want to see kind of like a head and shoulders, a miniature head and shoulders. And then I wait for this next candle to create a low, to open up below over here, below this candle. And then that kind of, well, that, and then if there's a wick above it, even that much the better, because that's telling you that there's selling pressure that's gonna, push, hope that's gonna potentially push it down. But that's one of the big characteristics that I like to see is a pullback high, and then a lower high on each side for a short, and vice versa for a long. If you see over here on this one to go long, right here to go long, you get a higher low off of this one, and then a higher low on this side, and then you know that it's probably going to go up. And then you just don't get in just because of that, right? You want to stack catalyst. So you said you used the pivot point, which is good. You always want to stack catalyst. And then you got in because of that wick, you said. And that's what
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. Go ahead.
No, because I had it on the 15-minute time frame. So when that wick hit and the body started forming, it just stayed under the R2. But that was one of the catalysts. Then when I looked over at VIX and I saw that it went to that easy play where the SMA, the 10 SMA was under the 50, and I'm like, oh, the VIX is going down. So that's why I jumped in and watching it closely, because again, this was a force up. I didn't know if it was gonna, scam and then shoot right back up. So I really wanted to make sure. That's why the picture was so late, because I really wanted to make sure as I'm going towards taking the screenshot, I didn't get scanned.
Yep.
So right when I saw and I got the points, I'm like, all right, we're good. So that's when I was able to take the screenshot.
For taking screenshots, the green shot might help you a little bit more because you can configure that to have any combination.
See, I'm using a Mac. I'm on two different systems. Like right now, I have like two Macs. So I had to start running Windows on one of them because I was having issues. So as I'm taking a trade, I'm using the Mac. So I use that, Shift, Option, and 4. So if I could find an easier way to do it, yes, I will. But that's the way.
I think it's Alt or Command Spacebar, and it'll give you this. It'll give you something like this. See how it gives me a little crosshair? Instead of catching the entire window, it'll give you this where you could just take a screenshot like this. But you can download screenshot for Mac too.
Oh, you can? Okay.
Yeah. Pretty sure. But anyways, one of the other biggest things for green shot is you can configure it. Where's that at? You can configure the settings to save your output. See, I have it configured right here. It saves it by year, month, date, and then the time, hour, minutes, and seconds. And it'll create a folder. And this is what it does. See, every day it'll create a folder, depending on when you take it, right? It'll create a folder for when you took the day that you took it. And then inside there, it'll put the time frame. Like this was at 6 o'clock in the morning, 6:30, 6:31, so on and so on. But you configure the settings and then it'll automatically do this. So like that, all you got to do is take a screenshot and then you can just come back to it when you have time to journal. And then to journal, you can use OneNote. You can use whatever. I use OneNote just because I use it between my desktop and my my laptop. But yeah, those are two good tools that I recommend.
I do have OneNote, but I just found like to make it Word makes it easier because I could just paste it once, you screenshot, I could just dump it right into the file. And since it's like right next to it, but I'll definitely try
Yep.
OneNote.
No, it's all good. Use whatever makes your life easier, whatever helps you journal fast or accurately. And not only that, but journal when data days are. Like this week was data, what happened? Was there a lot of opportunities? Was there no opportunities? Was it a force up day? Was it a dump day? Stuff like that will help you for the next data so you can kind of get used to data days. A lot of the big issues happen during data days. But yeah. Luna, is there anything that you kind of gravitate to, moving average system, or is it a fib system that you what videos have you checked out?
Well, actually, I kind of like moving averages.
What's that? You're sounding a little bit low. I can barely hear you.
Can you hear me now?
A little better.
Okay, so basically, I like the different moving averages that you use, and I
Yeah.
noticed that basically the price action it goes to it from one to another, so it helps me with the decision making. Mind you, I'm always doubtful on the entry because I'm not confident on the entry time and what's the best time to entry, and it always runs crazy so fast
Mhm.
that I lose the opportunity to get into the trade. What I do as well, try to define levels where I want to catch the entry,
Yep.
and if it aligns, I take it. Doesn't always work.
So cool. So I think we have a system for you. It's daily and weekly trend levels with the moving average system. So we're gonna help you combine both of them. What the biggest thing that we practice on and harp on here are trend levels, and well, actually I take that back. The biggest thing that we elite system, and I think every trader in their own way, whether it's fair value gap, fib, any strategy, the biggest, and that goes to you, Dell and Kelsey, the biggest thing that you can practice is confirmation. That was the hardest part that I had, and I was in your shoes, Luna, where you're waiting for that confirmation and you don't trust it. Like at first, you're like, "Fuck!" You get that FOMO. You get that FOMO. Like let's just say you're right here, right, and these two candles right here. These two green candles, you're like, "Fuck!" It's gonna run to the moon. You think it's gonna do this and not come back, and then when you see it, and especially if you're new, and this is the hardest part that I had, is you see the candles going up, and you think it's never gonna come back down to get in to continue going up, because your mind, and this is where the mind psychology comes into play, is this is where price action tricks new traders who still have that beginner normal person thinking mentality. Because if you think about it, and it does make sense, until you switch your mind to a trader's mindset, right? Once you switch your mind to a trader's mindset, it's going to make life easier for you to trust the confirmation. The biggest part, because even like over here, instead of getting in on the pullback and the net and the real confirmation, you think it's going to continue going up, and then you get in way over here instead of getting in the optimal entry right here. And right here, you get in right here. Who knows if it's going to go down or if it's actually going to play out?
Well,
And that's
looking at the 5 minutes, right? So normally
Yep.
I'm looking at the 1 minute chart, and the problem is it keeps on going sideways for a long time, and then all of a sudden you see that huge movement.
Yep.
That you missed, and then it goes sideways, and so on. So it's very difficult to find the right spot. I think I should not be be looking at the 1 minute. Maybe I should be looking at longer time.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I was just about to recommend. Like at first, trade the 1 minute just so we can see where your entries look like, see what everything looks like. But have the 5 minute chart up and you'll get better at this. This is something that we helped Easy with is he would look at his play on the 5 minute or the 30 minute, but get in on the 1 minute because with the moving average system, like on the 5 minute, the 50 SMA on the 5 minute lines up with the 10 SMA on the 1 minute. So we're gonna help you. We're gonna help you look for trend on a higher time frame and then break it down into the 1 minute so you can actually have an optimal entry. But for now, just trade the 1 minute and look at the 5 minute to see what if it's a good entry or not. And once we get deeper into your strategy, then we'll give you some tips and pointers on how to improve your entries and your exits. We can use the Fibonacci tool, Fibonacci retracement tool, to help you get in your entries. And this screenshot right here, is this a screenshot? It's not a screenshot. I have a screenshot of today's price action just to show you guys that no matter what strategy you use, they all line up. Oops, wrong one. Like right here, we got the fair value gap system with the fib system with the moving average system, and they all kind of line up. They all have different entry points. But you could have played either one. You could have played the fib from the golden pocket right here. You could have played right here, or you could have got in right here with the fair value gap right here, or you could have got in with the moving average system hitting the 50 SMA over here. And they all line up. It's just whatever helps you. Oops. Whatever helps you with your eyes. So yeah, thanks for sharing you guys' strategies. We're going to get in deeper into your strategy next week. And we actually just keep Luna, just reach out to me and I'll talk to you about your strategy. And then give you some tips and tricks on how to use the elite system, the trend levels, and how to use the moving average system a little bit more accurately to help you decipher the 1 minute.
Okay.
Yeah, but for this week, we'll jump into the psychology part because that's very important for new traders to learn. So now that we've broken down and learned what their strategy might be, is we're gonna jump into the beginner's mindset, trader psychology, finding a routine, and creating systems. So the beginner mindset is you come in, you get FOMO because you think it's going up, and that's your brain thinking, oh, it's going to continue going up. But one of the biggest rules in trading is don't long tops, don't short bottoms. You'll come to figure out why later in the series is when you're shorting bottoms, you're already getting in at a disadvantage. So you got to wait for that confirmation pullback to be able to, or back test of the moving average system or a trend level or a fair value gap, whatever it is. Wait for that confirmation to actually get in at a premium entry instead of when you're already too late. Once it's, I would say 2 to 3 ticks and you already missed it, then just let it go. Let it go. Forget about that trade. Wait for the next trade. Another thing that you got to come into is don't force trades. Just because you found the holy grail, or at least you think you found the holy grail of trading, and nobody will ever find the holy grail of trading. There is not one strategy that's 100% accuracy. And if there is, shoot, it's probably the market makers. They probably paid a lot of money for it. The market adapts and changes as new strategies come into play, and the computers, every group has a different strategy, and I'm sure the big brother or the market makers are paying attention, especially if your group is successful. They're going to try to figure out, how your strategy works to try to program that into their algos. Not only that, but market makers buy the data from the brokers. So they have all that information. They know where you're going to stop out at. They know where you're going to enter at. They know. And not only that, they're using high frequency trading machines. So once they program it into their algorithm, they're gonna know how to take advantage of you. So one of the books that we recommend that you guys read, if you haven't read, and if you have read, maybe reread it again, is Trading in the Zone. Trading in the Zone is one of the books. If you have read that, if you've read it a few times, then I recommend The Hour Between the Dog and the Wolf. That's more scientific, psychological, hormones, all that stuff. And that from Trading in the Zone, I learned how to accept losing trades. I learned how to have that mindset of not every play is going to work. That helps you with that. The Hour Between the Dog and the Wolf helps you with how to keep your hormones balanced. And because Easy discovered that once he noticed that when he enters a trade bad, or if he doesn't have a workout before he starts trading, his cortisol or his testosterone's a little bit high, and then he makes erratic decisions when he's trying to make a trade. And you want to be balanced, clear-minded, and focused on your game plan and your strategy. Another book that Judy recommended is The Power of Now. That's more of an emotional book. I haven't read it yet. I'm finishing up a different book called Emotional Intelligence, and that's another 4th book that kind of helps keep your emotions in check. You want to lose that attachment. You want to lose that attachment to your money. So if you're trading money because you need to go pay your car bill, or you need to go pay something, this is not the way to make that money. Don't expect to make $100 or $200 right out the gate. We will get you there, but like I said before, do not focus on the P&L. Lose that emotional attachment. If you have emotional attachment to that money, there's a couple of ways to fix that. Connor has a video. Either you save up money, like instead of going to Starbucks, the whole month, you can save that $200, $300 that you spend on Starbucks and put it into your account. So like that, you can trade that money and not care, right? You're flushing it down the drain pretty much by drinking the coffee. Instead, put that money to work and start learning, put it in an account, and get that emotional detachment from it, where you don't care if you lose $20 in one day or whatever the case is. Try to lose that attachment, because like I said earlier, you want to go into the trade accepting that you already lost that money. And then focus on your target. Don't focus on your target and then the trade go against you and your bag holding, and there goes your, supposed stop loss that you had. That being said, once you guys read those books, I want you guys to get into a routine. Get into a routine. My routine is I wake up. You guys might think I'm crazy, but I wake up at 3:30 in the morning on the West Coast. I meditate, I work out, I do my cold punch. What's a cold punch? A cold punch is jumping into either a cold shower. If you have one of those barrels where you can throw ice in it, or if you live in the snow, go fucking jump in the snow. I don't know. I jump in the pool and it's pretty freezing, but you'll learn that it helps balance you out. You don't have to do that, but either way. So I work out or I meditate, work out, and then I do my game plan, my TA. I go into the charts and I look, okay, I create my game plan. This is the biggest tip or one good tip. Do your breakdown and your technical analysis before Brandon jumps on or before you even start looking at the daily notes. You want to build your game plan with your bias. You want to stick to your game plan and your bias once we help you create your game plan. You don't want to get influenced by either other traders in the chat or by Brandon or by Connor. You're going to develop your own trading style and you're going to see the chart differently than everybody else. Even though everybody's looking at the same chart, your brain is going to look at it differently. So you want to develop that that muscle where you're in a routine, you go through the routine, you stick to your game plan. Soon you'll be able to, Brandon, he pretty much what I'm saying is don't use Brandon as an alert system or Connor as an alert system. Figure out how they play their system and then practice their system. But you're going to, even though it's their system, you're still going to see the chart in your own unique way. And then the fourth thing, you guys have any questions? I've been talking for a while. Lasagna Cat or Easy, do you guys have anything to add?
Not really on my case. Like I said, I'm just following, and so far, yeah, whatever you're saying is it's pretty accurate, right? I went through the same process, and then now on day one, I'm just listening, just because I also I can relate to everything that you're saying because it just happened to me like a few months ago. I remember when I just started the process, and then now I'm trading on my own. It just right off the bat, guys, I know some of the questions that I get, like some people would message me on Discord asking me, like, is it working? Am I profitable now? In that case, I tell them, yeah, I am still following my strategy. Profitable, I would say yes, but no at the same time. The only reason why I say no is because I'm doing it for a prop firm. I still haven't taken out any cash. So that's why I would say no, I'm not profitable. Until I have that cash in my hand, going for lunch just like Pete every Friday, then no, I'm not profitable. But on the other hand, I couldn't even pass one freaking challenge, like the prop firm challenge. I couldn't pass them. And then now, just this week, I passed two of them. Last week, I passed one. Now I'm trading with freaking 3 accounts. So yes, I am profitable in that way, but I'm not there yet to where I want to be at the moment. That's all I have to say.
That'll come, dude. That'll come. It just comes with screen time now. But you actually, like I said, the main thing out of that finding your way is creating consistency. And to me, I think you have consistency. Like you said, you went from failing all the prop firm challenges to now having 3 accounts funded. and being able to say that you're trading to make money instead of chasing the money.
That's right.
But yeah,
I am really following my strategy, and that's it. So yeah, just following my strategy works. It does work. I confirm. So
Yep.
now I just have to be patient, stacking up the wins, stacking up the green days, and then eventually I'll take out money just like in a ATM system, you know, like you go to
Yep.
the ATM. Yeah, that's it.
Yes,
I'm
sir.
following it.
And that brings us to the evolution of the trader. Like you come in, you think you're gonna make a lot of money, and then you get hit in the face by either getting smoked on live account or getting smoked on a prop firm account or whatever, blowing up a prop firm account, whatever the case is. You come in happy go lucky, freaking I'm gonna make a lot of money, to get smacked in the face. Oh, I'm about to quit because I don't think this is for me. But that goes for anything. Like Luna the cat, you said you're in real estate, right? Were you selling $1 million in real estate in the first year? Probably not.
Absolutely.
You have to build up that clientele, just like with any job. You either have to build up the clientele, you have to create systems. If you look back in history, any company that doesn't have a system or or doesn't have a process in place fails. So if you don't have a process in trading or a system in trading or a game plan in trading, you're gonna fail.
Yep.
And that's where a lot of these chat rooms they teach you that strategy, or they teach you that game plan, but they don't actually teach you how to put it, how to create rules around it, how to create your risk management around it. They don't actually teach you the fundamentals of creating that system, even though that system works. And this is where I came to find out that no matter what system you're playing, your eyes and your brain is going to adjust to that system. When I used to trade with different chat room, they used 180 SMA. You know, I don't use the 180 SMA no more. And even though when I was using the 180 SMA, price action would tag it. So now I use the 200 SMA and all these other moving averages, and my eyes adjusted to it. But even when I was using the moving average system, my eyes would pick it up. But the fibs is what helped me laser in my entry, laser in my stop loss, laser in my exits. And after that, I just took it to the next level and started combining other strategies that helped me improve my trading.
Yep.
So you're gonna start off happy, you're gonna get smacked in the face, you're gonna give up, you might get angry, and then if you stick with it, you're gonna come out at the other side as a consistent trader and a profitable trader. And you're gonna start making the big bucks. So the money will come, the money will follow. Concentrate on the consistency, the money will follow. Don't worry about the money right now.
Slow and steady.
Yep. Slow and steady wins the race, not the jackrabbit. Market psychology. Market psychology, you'll get into at the end of the series, where you're gonna begin to interpret when data is good and when data is bad. You're gonna interpret the manipulation. You're gonna see that shit. You're gonna start to see how the market makers manipulate price action. And I'm gonna walk you through, like, between 8 a.m., 8:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time to about 10:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. You're gonna see price action kind of just go sideways, or it's gonna go one way or the other. But that's only priming up for power hour, and you're gonna learn that. And then you're gonna learn how to trade pre-market. You're gonna learn how to trade after hours. You're gonna learn how to trade during data. Lasagna Cat was a good candidate who didn't like to trade data candles, didn't like to trade through data. He wouldn't even trade on data days because it was so volatile, and he would get stopped out or wicked out. But now shoot, he's playing through data, you know? And
Yeah, as it turns out, my my strategy lines up pretty good sometimes if I see it playing out to where support for data might be, and then it's just a matter of creating a training plan with a reasonable stop.
yep. So you're gonna learn all that, and you're gonna learn how to play data candles, how to stay out of trouble, how to hold runners, and how to cut losers. Uh, but yeah. So the books that we recommend for this week, just to get you in, um, get you to trading and figuring that shit out, is Trading in the Zone. If you haven't read that, The Hour Between the Dog and the Wolf, Emotional Intelligence, and then the other book is Best Losers Win. And then The Power of Now. So read any of those. Hopefully you can read all of them by the end of the series, so you can help you just become that much better emotionally and psychologically. And YouTube University, if you have any issues or any questions, a lot of the times when Brandon, I would ask Brandon like, "Oh, how'd you identify a squeeze level, or how'd you find that level?" He would break it down, or sometimes he was like, "I don't know, it's just gut algo." And that gut algo is built by watching the good patterns, and that's something that trading in the zone teaches you. You want to trade your brain, and this is why we break it down to the simplest form, is you want to train your brain to see the good patterns in your strategy, and filter out the bad patterns. Easy was a good learner about that. He learned that when not to get in when it didn't work. Like he can identify when it's a force up day, that if he gets in his
Cho
grade
hỏi Vin nói chuyện nào xíu.
grade B or his grade
Grade C, grade A, grade
that
C,
he would get
grade
smoked.
C and B. Yeah.
That he would get smoked. But if he got in his grade A in a force up day, he would still get smoked, and he's like, yeah, when it's a force up, I'm not gonna trade, or I'm gonna counter trade, or just leave it alone until he sees the chart going in a downtrend for longer than 5 minutes.
So if we can, we could go over a little bit, a few weeks down the road about how to identify a force up day, how to identify an algo sell day,
Yep.
stuff like that.
Yeah, definitely. Especially since this last week was data day, and usually those happen during data weeks or data days, where it's like, and this is where I kind of use Brandon, where he says, "Oh, it's a force up day." I don't use them when it's an entry or when it comes to my game plan. I use them more for like, okay, my both trades. When Brandon says both of my trades are, not gonna work out because it's a scam day or a force up day or uh, just a sell off day, then I'll probably look at the chart a little bit differently. I still stick to my game plan, but I'll be more cautious. And when I would ask Brandon about certain indicators or anything, this is why I love that he's putting out RSI indicator, MACD indicator, the way that we use it. And yeah, if he and sometimes if you don't understand the way he explains it, there's gonna be somebody out there on YouTube that might explain it a little differently, that you might have that light bulb moment. And that's why I love YouTube, where I say, okay, Anchor VWAP, right? We know how Connor explains it, but will I get the Anchor VWAP if somebody else explains it a little bit differently than what Connor or Brandon or whatever the case is? That in Google. What, like,
Also, just want to add something on this one, like YouTube University, Google University. Also, there's a trap on these things. Like, let's say whenever you go on YouTube, right? Especially YouTube, the trap is if you're looking just like you're talking about like the MACD, you just want to learn about a MACD. It's important that you focus on MACD only because YouTube is designed for the clickbait.
Yep.
You're watching a video on MACD, but then on the right side, there's gonna be, some suggestion, and then you will be tempted to touch on these
Yep.
links. And this is when you just go and then venture away, and then you're just spending time, like, I don't know, an hour, 2 hours, or sometimes even 3 hours, watching almost pointless video, even though they're not pointless, but just focus on the exercise. If
Yep.
you only want to learn about MACD, say to yourself, I want to watch 5 people explaining MACD on how they use it. But that's it. Just focus on the MACD. 5 different videos on MACD. Like, try not to get caught into that clickbait that YouTube will offer you. So that's an advice in order to save you time, guys.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you for bringing that up because that brings another good point. Don't, when you're looking up these videos on YouTube or on Google, don't change your strategy to fit their explanation, right? Take bits and nuggets of their strategy or the way they explain the MACD or whatever and correlate it to how we use it in BRT and elites, right? So like if somebody uses the MACD a certain way and it's similar to how we use it, then take that little nugget and be like, okay, I'm gonna apply it to this because you're adapting. You're not changing your strategy. You're just pulling nuggets on how to better utilize that same tool. That goes with Google too. Only pull out nuggets that fit your strategy. Don't completely change your strategy to somebody else's strategy because that's just gonna reset the learning cycle. And you're just gonna confuse yourself. And you're just gonna be like, I don't know how to use the MACD no more. Why? Because you're trying to change it to how a different person uses it. Instead of just pulling out stuff that should uh complement your strategy. Don't completely change your strategy. Cool. And that does it for this week's lesson. Does anybody have any recaps? Any questions? Any tips any comments for Dell or Luna?
I just want to say that I'm happy for you all who are coming on board to go through this quest. It's awesome. You're in the right place. I'm excited for you, and I'm excited to learn while you learn.
Yep.
Yeah.
Remember, if you can teach somebody else, or if you don't, help somebody here, learn your strategy because your strategy may resonate with somebody, whether it's fair value gap or moving average system. Start learning it so you can come in here open-minded and come in here willing to learn to be able to teach it. That's how you got to come in here. Like, if I could teach it to my 10-year-old son or to my 7-year-old son or whatever, or daughter, I want to learn it so I can teach it, pass it on. Because teaching it, first learning it, right? And then writing it down or taking notes is going to help you retain the knowledge, but then teaching it to somebody, because they're going to pose those questions. They're going to give you those questions. You're going to be like, that's a good question. Let me go, do some research or something. And then you're going to be like, okay. Then that's going to help you laser in and fine tune that tool. And then teaching it back, answering their question and teaching it back to them is going to help you retain that knowledge so you don't lose it. Yeah, thanks
and
everybody. What's that?
by the way, simple. I mean, I got one trade real quick that I can show. It's that's my first NQ play. I shorted NQ the other day, and then that's the only I was proud of it. So I don't know, I can show it because SPY this week or last week, whatever, the way it's moving, like it's taking forever. Still reflecting to my strategy, right? Going short. I took a trade on NQ. If you have time, I can share it with you guys.
Guys, I have to leave though. I apologize. So I have the meeting at 4:30.
Hey, you gotta mute Luna. Sorry if you're talking.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, I just got to leave. So
Sure, no worries, man. Like I said, just take trades next week, take screenshots so we can help you, and then reach out to me. We'll get you going on your strategy.
yeah, I'd like to reach out to you as well, maybe on Monday if you have time to check on my settings and make sure that my SMAs and everything are okay. So
I'm available on the weekend too if you have free moment or something. If
oh yeah, sure.
If
Yeah,
I'm
weekend will
open,
be
just shoot me and we can schedule something out.
awesome. Thank you so much, man.
Hey, no problem, man. Have a good one.
All right, take care, guys. Bye bye.
Thanks.
All right.
Hey, I'm gonna stop the recording right there, and then we could chat about.
Yeah. Is Pete there? I wanted to. Where's Pete? Yeah. Oh yeah, he is there. I mean, it shows that he's there. I wanted to show him
Yeah,
my
I'm here.
my
I'm,
NQ.
I'm
Okay,
listening
okay.
to you
Hold on.
guys.
Perfect. I got an NQ play for you that I have.
Uh-huh.
Like